Good evening, everyone. So, welcome to today's webinar. Because the time is 3:58, let us wait for 2 more minutes so that we can have other parents on board.
Uh, Good evening, everybody. I can see, I think they are twins, if I am not mistaken, wearing blue t-shirt, ROS4XP. So parents of these two twins, please come over and let the children go and play. There's another child here with USER device. Parents, if you kindly rename your devices and let the little one read a storybook or play, because the webinar is meant for you, dear parents.
So, once again, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for taking out time and attending this webinar. So, I am Mrs. Ananya De, School Counselor of Villa High School, Mukundapur. Keeping in mind the last year's webinar arranged for you, dear parents, we could find that you were really worried about how to go about with your child's emotions, the difficulties they are facing expressing them, as well as the excessive energy which is making them restless sitting at home and getting agitated. So today's webinar is going to highlight you more about this issue and give you more insight about how to deal with it. Thank you.
Hello and good evening, everybody. My name is Asha Roslin, and I am the school counselor of Minna High School, Mukundapur. Today's webinar is about how I manage my child's emotions. Together with Mrs. Day, we will talk and learn about managing and understanding our child's emotions, keeping the best interest of the child at play. How do I manage my child's emotions? Emotions are the basis of our behavior, and regulating and managing these emotions requires us to identify these emotions. There are 6 basic emotions: fear, sadness, disgust, happiness, surprise, and anger. Let us now understand how to identify these emotions. Firstly, tune into cues. Seeing the facial expression, the body gestures, the body movement, the response and behavior of the child. Every morning when you're waking up, instruct your child, let me see your bright and beautiful smile. Let your child express. Tune into these cues of the children. Remember, behind every behavior is a feeling. As adults, we learn to modulate, but as children, this remains a reason of confusion. Ask your child, how do you feel now when you encounter an unpleasant behavior? Thirdly, name the feeling. Encourage your child to name the feeling, label the feeling that the child is expressing. Maybe if they are crying, encourage your child to say that the child feels a little upset, a little sad, or is hurt. It is the first step for a child to identify their own feelings, and it helps them grow their emotional vocabulary. Identifying feelings in others. So you see, when we watch cartoons or read a picture book, encourage your child to see the emotion that is being at play. It helps the kid to learn how to recognize someone else's feelings and to talk about it through facial expressions. Be a role model. Sometimes, even we as adults, as parents, you may feel that the day is a little low. It might be a little upsetting. It might be a little challenging. And if your child identifies it, do not negate it. Say, yes, I do feel a little low, and encourage that. That is your child understanding the emotion, and you are being a role model. Encourage with praise. Use these praises very often. I am really happy that you shared it with me. I'm happy you want to talk about it. This lets the child feel heard. So when you are listening to your child's expression, the child believes that he or she is being reciprocated. So we can follow these patterns to identify the various emotions. And now let us learn how to manage and learn about the emotional cues.
So, learning about emotional cues is, when a child is unable to express what he or she is feeling. Suppose you're giving the child a dish to eat. Now, the child starts being cranky, the child starts crying, and you could see on and off whenever you give this particular dish, the child starts crying. So, one day, if you ask the child, "Hey, what is the problem? Why do you cry whenever I give this dish to you to eat?" Then the child says, "I don't know." The child is unable to express. That is the time you need to know why your child is crying or why your child is feeling irritated seeing that dish, because children cannot express them totally each and every time like we adults can. So learning emotional cues is very important as parents. So first one we can see is playing charades. The way we play dumb charades, so it is the same way what you can do with your child. You can ask the child to mimic or you can mimic, and the child will be able to identify or name the emotion. Suppose you're playing a happy face or a happy person, so you just laugh and dance, and your child will be able to say, "Okay, mama, you're happy right now." Or if you're playing a sad face or a sad smiley, which we say, because the children, they relate with all these smiles on and off. So you can apply all these techniques in playing charades. Watching videos with sounds turned off, it is like you have to mute, but the video will be on. Here also we will be able to make the child understand what kind of emotion is being displayed on the screen, but the emotion or the sound will not be heard. The child has to learn it. It is the cognitive understanding. The child will develop the emotional intelligence within himself or herself. Board games and picture puzzles are different ways, and there's emotional flashcards as well. You can use it at home. So through board games you can ask your child to make up the puzzle, or through emotional flashcards you can say, "Okay, which flashcard is this?" The child has to name it, has to identify it. The next is painting together. Children love painting, they love coloring, and color expresses emotion as well. So if you sit with your child and if you ask your child, "Come on, let's paint together, let us color a beautiful picture or let us draw," your child will definitely love doing it. And in that manner as well, you can help your child to identify rather the emotions. Suppose you see your child is not able to finish the picture puzzle, that is a sign of distress within your child. So you need to probe into your child. Obviously, you will not ask the child directly, "Hey, why didn't you finish the puzzle? Is something wrong with you?" No, not in this way. But yes, when you see your child is playing or when there is a lighter mood in the house, please approach your child and ask what is the matter, or in different forms, in forms of stories, try to take out from the child what problem or what is the distress the child is going through. And yes, family time will include all those which are being mentioned above, because you're sitting with your child and doing all these activities which are in the form of learning emotional cues.
So, dear parents, learning about these emotional cues and identifying the emotion It helps us to reinforce positive behavior and therefore communicate with our children more. Now, parents, you will find a question appearing on your screen. We would like you to kindly respond to it. And once we have taken the poll, we will be moving on with the presentation. It is our sincere and kind request to all parents to participate in the poll. We will now take a moment.
"61 out of 98 parents have taken the poll." So it's a request for all the parents to take the poll.
Parents, come on, please put in your views.
Let's learn together and let's together take the poll, participate, and carry with the learning.
Okay.
Okay, as we see, 48% of the parents have said that yes, their child is facing emotional difficulty, and 52% have said no, their child is not facing any emotional difficulty. For the 52% who have said no, it is really a very happy moment if your child is having a very positive mental health and well-being and can regulate the emotional self. And for all those, the 48% who feel that no, the child is going through some distress, we are here for you. We are here to inculcate that knowledge and together learn some new techniques. Moving on, we will now talk about the digital behavior and communication for our children. Now, a very important question that we come here with is why students misbehave sometimes. You know, there are complaints, ma'am, my child is not sitting through the class. Ma'am, my child is a little distracted. Ma'am, my child is not understanding. Ma'am, my child is not communicating. So why is it that they do not feel this attention or they cannot sit through the entire class? It can be because they can't express, they are having difficulty, they are in an uncomfortable situation. So always make sure that your child has a very comfortable position in which they are sitting. If your child is resting back, your child might feel a strain in the spine. If your child is too close, your child will also feel a problem in the spine. Make sure your child is sitting straight, has a back support to help the child be more comfortable in the class. Or they are going through some family crisis. Maybe they need to impress others. Sometimes a child acts out if the child is not receiving enough attention in the family or enough affection in the family. Sometimes as parents, we try our level best to provide all kinds of resources to our children, but maybe we do not understand them because we do not understand their way of expression. So make sure that you get more family time, you talk to each other, inculcate positive praises, try a little exercise before the class begins. And I can assure you in all classes, we do these exercise. But apart from school time, do the 5 times breathing exercise. So you make your child breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. This helps your child to be more calm and ready and prepared for a class or any other activity. Maybe it's due to boredom or lack of motivation and willpower. Sometimes what happens is we see that unfortunately a child suffers a lot of health issues during this current scenario. So one thing we have to make sure that the device we are using, it's not too close to the subject, to the child, or not too far away that the child cannot perceive their education being departed. So make sure that it is in a close distance, but not too close to the child's eyes. Being independent or self-reliant. Make sure that when a child is sharing a screen space, the child himself or herself is visible in the screen, not half of the screen or not just away from the screen. Make sure that your screen is centrally aligned, and the child is sitting independently, this helps the child have a trust and trust the parents and the teachers and be more self-reliant. Now we will learn about the negative emotions. Apart from all the positive emotions, we have a lot of negative or agony, basically emotions of agony and distress at play. For example, sadness, fear, anger, jealousy, these are all emotions. But our child can portray or can act out by showing a very aggressive behavior, which is irritable, and there are lots of factors at play. So let us talk about aggression and learn about what is aggression.
So aggression is basically the behavioral manifestation of anger. When your child gets irritated, when your child gets angry, the behavioral manifestation or the way the child behaves is termed as aggression. So here the child might harm himself or herself or the surroundings or his friend, or we could find sometimes a child throwing away things, showing tantrums. So all these are basically the signs of being angry, which is called as aggression. So before moving on, let us have the second poll of the day. So we again, this time a question is going to appear on the screen. Parents, kindly put your answers. So here we have the question. We could see parents are voting. We would request everybody to pitch in, please.
Come on, parents, push yourself. Only
It's a
80 out
weekend.
of 108 parents have polled.
Saturday evening, parents, I know you all are feeling sleepy, but we would request you, because without your cooperation, we won't be able to proceed with the webinar. So please. Okay, the results are being displayed on the screen, and we could see 69% of the parents have said yes, their child do show aggressive behavior, and 90% of the parents feel their child does not show aggressive behavior. So the ones who feel that the children are showing aggressive behavior at home, yes, children are showing those kind of behavior, and there are different reasons for it. And the parents, 30% of parents who think that no, their child is not showing any aggressive behavior at home, good going parents. But nevertheless, don't worry, the ones who are saying your child is portraying the behavior, let us learn the causes. Why do children show such aggressive behavior? So the first cause which we should always keep in mind, and which is very, very important, is increased stress level among parents. So as parents, we have to cater to so many needs, right? Family needs, we have our job, there is insecurity in the job sector, we have to cater to our children's needs as well, their studies. So we do acknowledge parents are under a lot of stress, and when parents are unable to handle this stress, so they displace it onto the children. How? They shout at their children, they become irritated, they cannot hold the patience level, and as a result they become aggressive on their child. So the child learns, okay, my parents, mama, papa, if they can portray this behavior, why not me? They take this behavior as normal, and they continue with this kind of behavior, which is we term as like children are showing aggressive behavior. Ma'am, I don't know why he has suddenly become so aggressive, not listening, very agitated, always irritated. So this can be one of the reasons. Next is exposure to violence in the home and or community, as well as we could see when children, as they're spending most of the time at home, they get exposed to the media as well, to the screen, where they can see lots of violence, maybe through cartoons or any videos or any ad when it is being displayed on the screen. There are many families which is undergoing violence, and the children are maybe intentionally or unintentionally viewing it, getting exposed to it, and they take it as normal. And as a result, they show such behavior on others. Restricted mobility and reduced social life and physical activities. So the present scenario has been so harsh on all of us that we hardly can go out. As parents, we have to go out for work or family needs and all, but children are being kept at home. So they cannot go out, they cannot play, they cannot meet their friends, they cannot go to the park. So this reduced social life is causing a lot of aggression within them because they cannot express what they want. Maybe initially they used to go to the shop to buy a chocolate or a packet of chips. That was a very happy situation for them. But now, due to this present scenario, they are not allowed to do that. So obviously, a child will become irritated, and as a result, will show aggressive behavior. And when the child is unable to express what he or she is feeling, if a child sees in front of him his mother is very irritated, angry, always shouting at everyone, if the child is feeling sad or fearful, the child will not walk up to the parent and say, Mama, I'm not feeling good. Why? Because the child will feel, if I go and say, Mama will again shout at me, right? So this feeling of not being able to express to the parents creates a lot of aggression within them. Now let us go and see what measures we can take as parents to control this anger.
Yes, as parents, it is always necessary for us to make sure that we provide a very engaging and a very interactive environment for a child. A child should trust, a child should be happy, and a child should be comfortable. So sometimes we use art, like it has been mentioned. Color helps in understanding emotion, and it also helps in channelizing the emotion. So ask your children to draw what you are feeling. Maybe it's a scribble, maybe lines, maybe flowers. Encourage them to draw more positive feelings, right? Rainbows and sunshine. So drawing this makes it more interactive. Maybe we can use music, we can use dance, use these different mediums to make sure that you can interact through an activity, to facilitate a space where the children are being listened to. So when they are asking a question, they are very curious. Our little children have a very curious mind. They have a lot of questions. Engage in it. Do not negate it. Engage in it and answer. Sometimes as parents, we are like, what answer to give? Okay, how do I answer this question? Maybe try and answer it in an honest way and make sure it is not too complicated. So make the answers really short, but answer so that they feel that they have an answer they need to learn from. So you are providing a learning experience to them. Make sure a child's routine and schedule is followed and not too much change is there. Because too much change takes a lot of time for a child to adapt to and adjust to, and this sometimes may cause an irritable behavior. So if you see a child is showing unusual behavior and that you cannot control or handle or manage, you can always talk to a professional. We welcome these situations and we encourage parents to come up and say, narrate their problems so that we can provide help. And remember, as parents, before being parents, we are individuals. So self-care is a very important aspect. You need to take care of your own mental health, your own being. Space and take a walk. Or if you feel like you want to talk to someone, talk to your friends or your close ones. Make sure you are in a very calm situation to deal with the situation of your child. Let's now know about how to utilize the excessive energy that the children have.
So yes, I do get calls, from parents. They say, "Ma'am, बिल्कुल बात नहीं सुन रहा है, घर में सोफा से जंप कर रहा है, द चाइल्ड इज रनिंग डाउन थ्रू द स्टेयर्स एज इफ ही इज गोइंग टू fall down right away, not just sitting at a place, not concentrating during the studies. So why all these things are happening and at this present moment? Because the child is having, or the child has the excess energy within him which he or she is unable to express out. So what can be the causes of excessive energy within a child? So the first point which we can see is the improper diet. See, children, they love eating junk food, and we, through life skill classes, we try to make children understand not to take much junk food. But we as adults also, we do take junk food. But you should have a control on it. You should know when to stop or when to have it. Maybe once in a month, not every day, or twice or thrice a week. So improper diet, when a child is taking excessive amount of high content sugar or salt content food, that will lead to excess energy within a child. So the diet of the child should be kept in mind. It should be a healthy one and it should be a balanced one. Lack of physical activities, as I have already said, as children cannot go out, they cannot go out to play, they cannot go out for a walk or cycling, whatever they used to do initially, that also causes the excessive energy within the child. So what can be the different remedies we as parents can apply at home so this excessive energy can be kept under control? So for the little ones, these techniques are very interesting. Like dress up, you can have the basic clothes at home. And today's, kids, modern kids, they know all those characters, superhero characters and Sophia and Frozen characters. So ask them to dress up like that. So it is a very fun way of venting out the excessive energy from the child. So ask them to dress up, ask them to enact as their favorite superhero or their favorite cartoon character, whatever they can. So when they are doing this, they are not sitting idle, right? So this will help out to take out the excessive energy. If you ask your child, come on, let us do yoga, come on, let us do exercise. No, mama, I'm not going to do it. But if you tell them in this way, I'm sure they will love it. I'm going to catch you. This is a very old technique we all used to play when we were also young. So you have to run with your child. You cannot sit and say, I'm catching you, I'm catching you. So in this way, you can also have a physical exercise, parents. So your child will be able to vent out excessive energy, and you can also participate along with the child to vent out your excessive energy or keep yourself fit. And the third one, which we can see, is the toddler challenge. This is especially for the nursery KG ones. What they can do, ask the kid, okay, run to the corner of the door. Now touch your head. Or come on, sit on my lap. Show me your nose. So in this ways, the children, they will love it. As I said, don't tell them come and exercise with us. Instead, try to use these techniques.
Yes, we can also have obstacle race. Like ma'am said, I'm going to catch you. So we can just make it a little bit more interesting by adding different hurdles to it. So that the child is cognitively and physically, in both ways, the abilities are being enhanced. So you can put different hurdles for the child and ask them to cross it. Make sure that the child is in a comfortable and a safe area. We can also use prepare a snack. So allow your child to make a healthy snack, and you can make sure that there are more green vegetables included in the snack. This will encourage a healthy and a positive diet too. And end with a praise. This is yum. This is so tasty. So they know that healthy diets are also tasty and they do not rely on junk food for a healthy and a tasty meal. Next, we have wash away. So, our children they have a lot of toys, different varieties of toys. So encourage them to wash those toys. You can just take a bucket of water and make sure that they dip the toys in the water and then dab it with a soft cloth and dry it. So this will instill a sense of value in them. So they will know that, okay, this is my belonging. I need to take care of my things. So slowly they will become more self-reliant. You can actually give them, like I said in the previous slide, me time. This is how you can actually enjoy your me time, and your child is also engaged in a very positive activity. Moving on, it is very important as parents, we should check on our own level of aggression, anxiety, and our mood swings, because our mental health and our well-being is as important as that of the child. So, pamper yourself. For you as adults, yoga, music, meditative music is very important. One thing I would like to point out in this, when we're talking about anxiety and aggression, is the need for sleep. And 8 hours, a regulated sleep structure of 8 hours is very, very important. And timely means. I understand there are working parents. I understand parents have different household chores also to engage into. Make sure you give yourself, even if it's a 6 hour sleep, try to induce it by listening to meditative music. We have various apps, Calm app, Wink Music, Spotify, YouTube. Utilize this music and help sleep. Also, make sure your eating habits. Make sure you're eating timely, you're eating regularly. And if you feel, okay, I might lose my control, try and modulate your voice. Figure out the pitch you can talk in. I want you to do this. This is my high speech. I want you to do this. You can't hear me. I want you to do this. Could you try to do it? This is my modulated speech. But if I continue talking, I want you to try and do this. Could you do this? This might not be a good reaction to the child. But if I modulate it, and if I am like, I want you to do this, could you please try and do this once? A child will be more receptive, and also this will help you and your muscles to relax. The more tense your vocal cord and your throat is, the more tense your body is, your mind is. So remember, parents, if you're patient in 1 minute of anger, you will escape 100 sorrows.
So I would also like to cite an example over here. Like if you hold a glass of, a simple glass, water is not filled in it, and you just hold it for a minute, that is fine, right? Your hand or arm is not going to ache. Hold that glass for an hour, you will slowly start having arm ache, right? Your hands will start paining. Hold it for a day, full day. Obviously, your hands will become numb or paralyzed. In the same way, stress is like the glass. If you hold in for a minute, fine. But if you keep on holding it throughout the day, you are going to break down. And if you break down, remember, parents, your child is going to break down. At the end of the day, a child looks up to you. So you have to be calm, you have to be stress free. We do understand we are going through lots of tough situations, but let us all stay united and face the situation. So we welcome your questions. Thank you.
So I think the parents are quite satisfied with whatever we are doing, because barring a couple of questions, there aren't any in the chat box. So there's this parent whose question says, like, if a child is always playing war type games or draw soldiers, tanks, etc., then can we call this a destructive or a negative behavior?
Yes, ma'am, I would like to answer this question. If your child is constantly drawing violent activities and is using dark colors more, engage, this might be taken into as destructive behavior or expression of behavior. So you can try and manage it by offering pictures, imaginations, pictures of flowers, rainbow, clouds, sunshine, and togetherness. You can make cutouts. We used to make cutouts of butterflies and lilies. These are all positively related images. And these images help your child's imagination to grow in a more positive manner and not in a destructive way. And also encourage the child to express. Ask, what have you drawn? Why have you drawn this? What are you feeling now when you have drawn this? So this helps you to get an insight too. And if need be, you can always talk to the counselors.
Thank you, ma'am. So we have now the questions are all popping in. So here we have that in spite of extreme anger, my child has shown interest to know to know the meaning of a new word which was shown in front of the screen. So he wants to know what is the meaning of that word. I think, sir or ma'am, what I understood of your question is when we are uh, uh, showing a new word on the screen, I think the child wants to know the meaning of that word. So how do we go about with it?
Ma'am, the first part of the question was related to anger because the
Yes, like the child is very angry, but at the same time, when he's seeing something new, he's keen to know more about it. So, what sort of behavior is that? So, the parent want to know that.
okay, if your child is showing anger and at the same time the child wants to learn the new word, first, see, when a child is in an angry mode, nothing can be learned. Okay, so you have to make your child calm down first and understand why the child is angry. Once you find the child has calmed down, and you have to obviously be with the child and try to find out that new word. If you are unable to answer what the new word means, maybe your child will get more agitated or more angry. See, we have different traits of behavior within us. Some get angry more, some get angry less. So we have to channelize and we have to control it accordingly because children are too young. So if it is we, how we mold our child, right? So first you need to calm down that child, you need to answer the question as well. Why, I mean, what is the meaning the child wants to know. And later on, maybe during night time when the child is going to bed, ask the child, what makes you so angry. Try to depict beautiful, moral stories which shows not to get angry much. What happens if you're angry more? What are the different strategies we can use to help and control anger? Breathing exercises are very good for it. I hope I could answer this question.
Thank you. So, this is something related with the devices, the gadgets. So, the question is like this: how to make a child less addict to electronic gadgets? That means, how can you stay away from that? So, who's going to take it up?
Yes, ma'am, I would like to answer it. So very well put.
And
Thank you so
one
much.
minute, Ashia, and second part is that specifically when both parents are working.
Right, absolutely. I would like to answer this question. Now the school is going on digitally, so there is a digital time frame that you have to maintain, that the child is getting exposed and using these different various gadgets. But in nursery, class 1, class 2, there is no need to use the gadget without the supervision of a parent or a elder person or a teacher, because there are no projects given which needs extra assistance, which needs Google or YouTube at this age. So it is the Jamboard and it is again in class hours. So what you can do is you can make sure you give your child sensory activities, use of hands, very important. Now when we were little, when we used to write, even in school, when we attend school, the grip of the pen, it's very important. It's related, it's a sensory motor activity. So since this sensory motor activity is not present due to the classes and everything being online, engage them more into these kind of activities. For example, you have play-dohs. Nowadays, you get a lot of play-dohs. You can actually let them make different stuff, make a child or make a flower or make a rose. And sometimes in classes, we also do origami. Origami is a very good expression of emotions. Ask them because it needs a lot of patience. So if you engage them in these activities, which are cognitive as well as physical, it causes a lot of fatigue in them. So after which they are like, they want to rest, or they feel like not using gadgets that much. So I believe sensory motor activities will help. So you can use Play-Dohs, origami, or maybe ask them to fold their own t-shirts, a sense of responsibility, Or maybe a very simple thing, arrange all the plates in sizes, different sizes. So make sure that the shortest plate goes on top and the largest one is at the bottom. Again, this inculcates the sense of hierarchy in plate ordering and understanding space and variations. So you can involve them in such activities.
Thank you, ma'am. So here there's another case. This is absolutely a contrast. My child doesn't want to speak much. He's always trying to express himself, and when he's unable to explain, and we as parents, we are unable to understand, then he gets angry and show tantrums.
I would like to answer this question. If I think from the child's perspective, the child is absolutely behaving normal, because you only think if you cannot express something to someone, how are you going to feel? We also get irritated, angry, right? The child becomes also the child behaves in the same way. Now, first we have to find out why the child is not expressing or why the child is not speaking much. If we consider today's scenario, most of the children, they are on their gadgets right from 2 years age. They are watching mobile phones and eating their food. So this is making them less to communicate. We have working parents, both the parents are working, the child is left. Most of the cases, I'm not talking about everyone, mostly the child is being kept with the maid. The maid is not going to take so much on herself and try to communicate with the child. So as a result, the child is not getting so much opportunity to speak up. The child is not getting exposed to the friends to speak up. Try to make sure, during the weekends, as the child cannot go out, phone up a friend, ask the child, encourage the child to talk to a friend. Or when you come back from your work, if you are a working parent, or at the end of the day, or whenever you get time, sit with the child. Don't talk only about studies. Ask the child, we can play story time. You start up with a story, ask the child to continue with it. You have to communicate more with the child, find out the reason why the child is not speaking up, right? If the child is not getting those that access to speak, that if nobody is there to speak, why will the child speak? And that behavior is settling in the child not to speak much, and as a result, the child is unable to express because the child is unable to communicate, and for that the child is getting aggressive. Please speak to the child, communicate more and more with the child. Whoever is at home, request them to do so more often. Thank you.
Thank
Ma'am,
you,
I would
ma'am.
like to add something to it.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Understanding that communication is verbal and also sometimes it is non-verbal. So if the child is not communicating verbally, so initially we can also give a chance to the child to communicate non-verbally. How do we do that? So this might need an extra assistance from the parents. You can get flashcards, write the questions. Hello, good morning. So how are you feeling? Just leave the flashcards on the study table, or maybe in breakfast when you're serving the kid breakfast, keep that flashcard and keep a pen. Pen as in color pencils, I would prefer. Let your child write it. See if the child is writing it. If not, you will get to know that the child doesn't wish to communicate. Also, you can do another thing, play some music. Like let a background music be there when the child gets up. So it gets up, it releases a lot of endorphins. Endorphins help and communicate and regulates our positive emotions. So play some music, let the child wake up to something positive, and also when the child is going to sleep, make sure that the music is on. You can also use draw your feeling activity. So you can ask the child to draw it. For example, don't always have to go and say, okay, mama, you have to now draw it. No, do not do that. Just keep a paper and some crayons. See if your child is voluntarily going and drawing. If the child is making an effort to draw, that is also communication. So this gives you a space to go and later on ask your child what Mrs. Day has mentioned. So tell me, why do you feel angry? Why aren't you talking to me? Do you want to share something? So this causes a trust relationship between the child and the caregiver. Thank you.
So we have another question. This is related to the gender. So the parent is asking that I have always experienced differences in handling a girl and a boy's emotion. How am I supposed to manage that? I think our teachers are the best examples of handling both boys and girls' emotions.
Absolutely, ma'am. A boy and a girl growing up can be very different because of their difference in the biological gender and then the societal gender in both ways. So you might feel that, okay, my son is very naughty, very mischievous, a prankster. And my daughter is very calm, very cool. And sometimes you might see that it's the opposite. My daughter is running around very naughty, mischievous, and my son is very calm. So to answer your questions, it is not the gender at play, but it is the emotions and the individual characteristics which are at play. I can assure you that gender and emotions, it develops at a very later stage. Probably adolescent after they hit puberty, that's when gender can be a basis of emotion. But at this age, I can assure you, it's just your child's emotional nature, and there's nothing to worry about. There's no need to discriminate. It's the same process for the boy and the girl.
Thank you, ma'am. So this is a very, very common question for all the parents, especially the pre-primary. So the question is something like this, that ma'am, during online classes, our child is always expecting to hear good or positive comments. And if she gets any negative comments, or if the teacher does not say anything, then she starts crying. So how to tackle that?
Okay, I would like to answer this at a very tender age, because you see, we have a single child and we are focusing totally on that child. And whenever the child is doing good, wow, beta, very good, very good, very good, the child has got habituated listening to this. Now, when the child is exposed to school with 20 more children, obviously the teacher has to give attention to each and every one. Here, this child is not getting that attention, and that is making that child little upset or sad. Here comes the role of life skill. The parent has to make the child understand at home, you are getting a chance, your friend will also get a chance. If your teacher does not say you, good beta, wow, well done, that does not mean that you're not doing good. You are doing good. But when your chance will come, your teacher will definitely praise you. You have to wait for that. Patience. This is a life skill which we need to imbibe within the child right from this age. And especially now, because the children are attending online classes and they are not able to meet their teacher physically. So this need for attention is growing more within them. But with time, this thing is going to settle down. Once they grow up, their maturity will tell them, okay, the teacher has to praise everyone. It is not always me that I will get all the attention. It will take some time, but it will definitely settle. I hope I could answer.
Thank you, ma'am. So we just had a question wherein the parent was complaining that my child is not talking. And here we have a parent who says that my child talks too much. How do I control her?
Okay, ma'am, I would like to answer this question. Firstly, I would like to mention this was something very known to my parents also, because it was said the same thing was said about me, that I talk too much. So how did my parents handle it? I was scolded, don't talk, you're not supposed to talk. But nowadays, that is not the way you can actually talk to your child. If the child is talking too much, maybe that also comes from the need of attention to impress others. You know, the child is always waiting to feel that, like the previous question was mentioned, I want to hear that I did good. I need a constant validation. A child needs it. A child needs to feel that the child is constantly getting validated. Therein lies some children, they talk, some children, they shut down, and some children just don't stop talking. So I would suggest that the same life skill lessons be inculcated to the child, like we do it in the classes, that let your child know sometimes, let's try and have a communication non-verbally. For them, try and tell them, okay, you want to talk, why don't you write it to me? Why don't you use the, like we use in the classroom, we say, please write it in the chat box. Ma'am will read it, write it in the chat box. This makes sure that they don't keep unmuting themselves and talking. Sometimes they might not wait for the teacher to say, yes, please tell me what you have to say. Because the need of talking is that important for them. It is not a wrong behavior, but it is just their confusion and their actions. So you can actually do the reverse and tell them to write it down. So you want to tell me a story? Why don't you write it down? Why don't you draw it to me? Why don't you actually record a video and show it to me? Nowadays, since if you are there present, allow them to use the gadget like this. Ask them to record it, because this helps them to be more confident. Why don't you act it out? Make it like playing charades. Again, it is a cue to understand the emotion of your child. So I hope I could answer this question.
Ma'am, I would like to add on to this a bit. May I go ahead?
Please.
Yeah. Now, see, if your child is talking too much and you are noticing this behavior has taken place after the lockdown or when your child is at home, please allow them to talk, because the children are not getting that opportunity to go to school or to their friend's house or to their relatives' house to talk. So if they cannot communicate with their parents also, there is nobody left with whom they can communicate, right? And the more these children will talk, the more they will be able to express their emotions, whatever is going on in their mind. And once the things are normal, I pray it happens pretty soon, all these issues will get settled down. Don't worry at all about it. Thank you.
So we have another question that is pertaining to the situation. It says, like, current pandemic situation is difficult to take the children out, and they are all cooped up in the house. So the parent is asking, like, how can we handle such emotion, because the children are very sad. They are unable to go out and play. They are all cooped up inside. So what to do? How to go about with it? I think they can take the children to the terrace, or do a little bit of, they can take them down. And what do you say, Ashia?
We as parents, basically, we have to take the initiative. Do we have any other option? We cannot ask a child, go to your relative's house, go and play with them. We cannot do that, right? So we parents have to take the initiative. We have to play with them. We have to be their parents, their teacher, their friends, everybody, so that they can rely on us. And this sad emotion, we can change at least to somewhat happy emotion. See, situations we cannot change, but we can try from our end so that these children do not be sad. We are also taking classes, we are trying to motivate the children. And if you still find that your child is going through some distress, is not listening to you, always in a very sad mood, please speak to us. We are definitely going to help you.
Yes, ma'am. I would also like to suggest something. I understand the current situation is a little harsh, but I believe on large scale basis, we cannot all go out, but on small scale, as in utilizing the dusk or dawn, the traffic is less. You can actually go out and jog somewhere. There are areas you can jog. So if you can, if it is possible, if it is at all possible from your end, you may utilize that. You may take your child out for maybe a run, maybe do it once a week or twice a week. That gives them a breather too. Nature. If you have a veranda, spend more time there. Let your child, ask your child, what do you see? Do you see that cloud? Clouds make different shapes. As adults also, we do this. We try, and sometimes when we are relaxing, we try and make out the shapes in the clouds. This is a very fun activity and a fun way of interacting with your child. You may try that if you have an open veranda or a terrace, or if you can go out for a walk.
Can I just add
yes,
some?
yeah.
Can
Yes,
I
yes,
just
ma'am.
add something? So I don't know how many of you, know we haven't met face to face. I think I haven't met. I am Mrs. Mini Gupta, the principal of the school, and you've met Mrs. Prasad. I mean, you've seen Mrs. Prasad on screen. She's asking all the questions. She's the headmistress. So we know that times are tough, and it has not been easy for anybody, especially not for young children and the parents of young children. And that's why we thought of, putting this together today. And I hope some of your queries have been answered. Thank you, Mrs. Day and Ms. Rosalind. But one thing, as a much older parent than you, my son is now grown up, and now, so what happens, and I would like to share this with you, is in hindsight, later on, you think of a lot of things that I should have done. And I take every opportunity I get to tell parents that don't make the mistakes that we parents did sometimes. So that's why I thought I'd just take a minute to speak to you. So one is that, one thing which we never do is respecting the child. It is not about indulging the child too much, like some of you ask that, the child talks too much, too little, etc., etc. Of course, we are worried. Of course, we do the right things. But one thing which I think I never did, and which I think would have helped perhaps, is that we need to respect our children. We just consider them as an extension of us. At least I did. So I don't know how many of you do, and many young parents that I meet and, I feel. So I thought that, I must convey this to you. Think of a child as an adult who has his own or her own likes, dislikes. Every child has his or her own destiny. As parents, we try and control it as far as possible, but believe me, it is not possible. So it is, our bond with the child is important, right? But don't indulge the child too much also. Don't take, all the burden yourself, because like some of them, our counselors pointed out, give them small chores, make them self-reliant. That is something I think in a hurry to finish off our chores, it's so much simpler if I can feed the child, right? It takes me 10 minutes to do it. When a child sits and does it, he does it for 30 minutes, right? After that, I have to clear up the mess. So, but it is worth doing. Believe me, it goes a very long way in developing the child's self-confidence, self-reliance, and thinking that, yes, I can do it. It will be a mess. It will take more time, but it is really worth doing it. And I think another thing which we can do, which all parents we can do, is think back of your own childhood. What are the things that you would have, liked your parents to do? If we are honest, we will find answers, right? Every child is different. Sitting over here, I don't think any counselor can give us, every child, like your child is different from mine. And, if you talk to 5 parents, there'll be 5 different problems they have. But as a parent, we know our children well. Only thing is, sometimes we are in such a hurry. And I don't blame any parent, because, when you're a working parent or even otherwise, there are so many things that you have to, do, and so many, you're constant, it's a balancing act, right? But just sit back, and if we can think, I think intuitively we will do the right thing, right? Don't have ambitions. Let's not have ambitions for our children, right? Every child. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, to add on to your point, just like I've mentioned, that it is always okay. Sometimes nowadays we are so aware as parents, okay, my child is doing this, my child is doing this, so this is a problem. This might be a problem. Everything is not a problem. It is okay. It is normal to be upset. It is normal to be talkative. It is absolutely normal, just like ma'am mentioned. And keeping that entire point in mind, to relax more, can we all have this participative thing? Can we all do the 5 minutes breathing exercise? Can we all, as parents and teachers, can we all do this 5 minutes of relaxation, 5 times breathing. So I would request all the parents here with us and teachers, close your eyes and think about your childhood and your happy place. If you can just close your eyes and think about your happy place, or maybe something from your childhood, something positive. And breathe in through your nose and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. A third time. Come on, let's do it. Breathe out. Another time. It's all your happy thoughts. And the last time. And out. Together we are here, and just because we are discussing about the problems, it is not necessary that a child is exhibiting those problems. So it is okay. Let's take a breather for the child and for the parent. Over to you, ma'am. You may please continue.
So we'll call it a wrap, and then we have a last final poll, and I expect all of you to participate in that, including the resource people who are here, right? So here we go. We have just crossed midway. Yes, parents, definitely we are going to post the recording in the website and you can all access it. 81%, 82%, 83, 84. Come on, you can do it. Today we've got a silver also, and our hockey team has defeated New Zealand. So yes, we can do it. Come on. 85. What about the others? All right. So let's share the results. Here we go. So there's this one solitary person who did not find this useful. We will surely contact that person and get to know where we went wrong, and surely we'll see to it that we rectify that. Have a fantastic weekend, parent.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your cooperation.
Bye-bye.